So, in 1970, 69 and 70, and where's that picture? I've got it here somewhere. I spent 1 year in Texas, came back to California because I actually got kicked out of school in Texas for my free speech and civil rights work, which I now regret the civil rights part of it. And while I was working on getting recruited by literally every college in this country and so on, and becoming probably the first athlete of the week in the Bay Area to be a lineman, Kent, a fierce 275-pound tackle, played one of his finest games as a surprising Scots beat Sequoia 16-7 for their third SBAL football victory without a loss. That's actually Silicon Valley right there. And the artist was just traced from photographs. Dorothea Temple was a mother of one of my track teammates and stuff like that. But by this year, we were already, and I should mention, there were 2 riots, of which I really tore them up on that one and stuff. I was a real standout. That's what they loved, was a wild man. They really loved somebody who was just brutally. And when you see the actual picture of this, you'll see that I don't have a gut in that it's kind of over. She did a mishmash of 2, she actually put together 2 different pictures to come up with this. This is one picture, and this is another picture. Anyway, let me move on with it. And because so many of you have tried to make assertions, I tell you about all the stuff that I've done in my life that I say worked at, it's right here on top. I tell people all the time, that's Department of Corrections. Tell people all the time that I work for San Francisco Juvenile Justice. My neighbor asked me when I was just 19 and 20, they didn't tell me that you had to be 21. And if you notice, there was why they had to lay me off, is they didn't put in my social security number and stuff like that. And this is just for part of 1 year. That was the problem, is they couldn't give the feds my social security number, though they would have a permanent record of the fact that I wasn't 21 when I was receiving all of these checks and stuff. It's check after check after check. Some of these are only for a day, or there's like a typical week, 324 or whatever. So let's get on with that. So there's your physical. I even was challenged by a judge and an attorney, an assistant district attorney in court. That they said, you weren't a case counselor for the city and county of San Francisco. Well, there's your proof right there. There's all my pay stubs and stuff. I'll put that up here. And to go back even further, I tell people about how no, it's still clicking off. I can't. Only 3 minutes into this. I don't know what the hell happened here. I'm going to have to double check this. I tell people about the fact that I worked at the 40th and 42nd. You can see that right there. 1969. That was the summer that I turned 14. That was the summer I was 14 and 15 or something like that. Yeah. So here's proof that I worked for Texas A&M University at Brighton Field, and trust me, we were only getting minimum wage there and putting in. But there's your records right there. That was one on top. There's another wage statement for the next one, 1971. That was the 42nd. This was the 42nd school, and there are my pay stubs and stuff. Sometimes they pay you for a day, sometimes they pay you for a week. You know how it works with, that's always the net up there. That's the gross down there. Back in the day, people didn't get paid much money. But there's proof that I worked when I was supposed to have been at least 18 to 21 years old. I was working at Brayton Fireman Training Field. See, there's a location, 02564000. That's Brayton Field. And they did, if you noticed, they did put my social security number on that. And let's see what else is on here. That's just Prestige Optics. This is when I was, says it right there. Let me see, sales rep, occupation. Okay, Prestige Imports, optical company. I have no idea what those are, but that's, anyway, I'll get on with it. Either something's going really good, or I'm getting better time than I thought. It's, so, and I'll wait, and I'll have to, because I'm getting out of order here, I'll have to show me signing my national letter of intent and so on, which I don't believe is in this stack. Oh gosh, look at that. All the kids in my class signed that picture. There he is, the late Kenny Davis, dad of Stephen McCorkadale. Was always a fun guy. Howard Prince, David Hunter, Donna Ward, Eddie Webb, Clayton Ford, Pam Watson, she was one of my girlfriends. Pamela Todd, who became a pharmacist. As a matter of fact, this must be third grade because both of them were at me. And the other girls, Pamela Todd was such an innocent young thing that they got Pamela Todd to come up to me and go, "Kent, when are you going to F-U-C-K me?" She never even heard or knew what the word fuck meant. And there's Eva Werbs, who was later to become the victim of Kenny Davis, the thief, the lying thief. But let me go on and push some other stuff. Oh, here's, I'm just throwing stuff out there. And actually, let me go ahead and show that, let me show one thing. It's just to show you how some people are and stuff. It's, oh gosh. Here is all that remains of a trophy I was given in 1970. Mr. Crunch, my brother-in-law, deliberately destroyed this trophy, plus I think it was four other boxes of mementos, he's an asshole. He's always been an asshole. He married my asshole sister, Melanie. And that's all that remains of it. And this is my nameplate that I wore at the Texas Department of Corrections. This was the last patch on the last uniform I wore for them. They get to keep the badge. Okay, let's go down to, here you go. Here's my class of 1975. And who's the biggest? Well, I guess the black guy may look like kind of looks like he's got an inch on me, but he doesn't. It's just kind of the hat thing. But actually in that picture, I'm still 6.5 feet. And let me tell you about how we work it in football, is that in the stuff that you'll read about me, when you pull up online and stuff, it'll say I'm only 6'5". When in fact, I've peaked at age 16, I was 6'7". I started losing height after the knee injury. But what we always used to do in football was that we would list tall men shorter than they were, so we'd surprise the enemy when we stepped on the field. And the short guys, like little coral roaches, we'd make them an inch or two taller, when in fact they would be as tiny as, as small as that little fucker there or whatever. And I don't want to point out the guys in this picture that were asleep when a guy went over the wall one night. But this is, in that picture right there, I am 6.5 feet tall and 300 pounds of meat. This is, in the next year, they asked me to become the next and first chemical executioner of the state of Texas. But let me go back. I didn't take this out of because for one thing, my neighbor destroyed it. He broke the glass frame over it, the original glass frame over it, but just thought I'd show you my high school diploma. This is to certify that Thomas Kent Kruger, Carlmont High School, Belmont, California, which used to be associated, probably still is, with part of our curriculum was at Stanford University. We had a huge curriculum of over 300 courses. I think it was 330. We had like 30 languages alone. We had everything from Hebrew to you name it. And it was, back in the day, it was quite a prestigious high school to go to because it was the combined tax bases of San Carlos, home of the Gianninis that bought out John Ralston, who founded Belmont. See it? Carl Mont, San Carlos, Belmont. And look how long they keep us. It was the 16th day of June in 72 by the time I graduated. And the very next day, I was on a plane to Texas A&M University. The only reason I chose Texas A&M was because even Stanford had offered me a huge amount of money and a 5-year scholarship and stuff. But the reason I chose Texas A&M University was because about the time this book was published, my father had already died of leukemia. I really didn't give a shit about football, and most of the people that subscribe to my channel are football fags. They're gay to begin with. They're drug addicts. They're pedophiles. They're everything. They wish they could be me. But I always hated football. I've always seen the homoeroticism in it and everything else. I only came back to Aggie land because of my father. The Aggies were a bunch of cheap bastards. I had it in there a minute ago of my receipts from my sugar daddy and stuff like that. But that's one of the things that really pissed me off about Aggie land is they actually expected, instead of just handing me the cash like all the other colleges were doing, they actually expected me to go out and spend time with alumni and kiss their asses and hang out with them in order to get, the cash and the clothing and other things that I needed and all ball players need and stuff. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm too busy doing other things. And when my father died in 73, it was later that year when the next season began, I retired, and immediately after I resigned, my brother Charlie resigned, and the dream of the 49ers beating the Los Angeles Rams and the Olsen brothers, because the Olsen brother quit about the same time I did. The dream of a professional football team having 3 brothers on the same team ended in 1973. And that's the end of this video. More details later. I just wanted to prove to you that I'm a real human being. Some of the things that I was talking about, like working at Brayton Fireman's Training Field, the largest fireman's training field outside of Russia, and working at the San Francisco Juvenile Justice Department of Juvenile Justice and stuff, before I was even 21. That's real. I just got through showing on camera the proof that I did do that. So all you people that keep calling me a liar and stuff, screw you. And for those people who are interested in my life, you just got a little peek into the life of a person who's led a very diverse life. And that's one of the reasons that I am the way I am. I can't hardly stand to be around people who've never done more than 1 or 2 or 3 things in their life. They've been maybe a factory worker or a farmer and a father, and that's about it. I've had quite a diverse life, and I've enjoyed it. It's been awesome, and I hope you'll stay tuned later, because in future episodes, I'm going to try to do my best to blow your mind. I'm going to tell you shit that you only hear on the weirdo channels, but that's maybe a while. That may take a year, so hang around. This is the end of the second episode 2 of the introduction to the life of Kent Kruger. Later. See you next time.